Before we get started with today's interview, just a quick reminder, click the thumbs up, make sure you subscribe and ding the bell so that you don't miss any of the great interviews that we have coming up. Now, on to today's interview. Welcome back, everybody. Today, my special guest is composer Scott Price. Welcome, Scott.
Hi, Sam.
We're here talking about his piece, Deep Green Sea, which is on the new Federation Festivals list. You can find it at tomgirouxmusic.com. This piece has these wonderful, roiling, swirling arpeggios. It was so alluring when I got to sight read it. Talk to us about putting together this piece.
In a way, even though this piece has some melodic features to it, it's almost a little etude of breaking up a chord figure or a chord cluster pattern between the hands. And that's not something new. That's something that you see in Gurlitt, that you see in Czerny. I just wanted to try and approach it in a different way and put a lot of it into the bass clef, because when I was a young student, about 6 or 7 years old, I got sent home from my piano lesson with some flashcards, specifically bass clef flashcards, because I wasn't learning my bass clef notes. And so I figured let's help students like me out with that kind of thing. And so, I just wanted to try and approach that texture in a little bit of a different way.
That is really cool. I can hear the imagery of swirling waters and waves moving in. There's a couple of sudden fortes that happen in measure 10 and in measure 12. What does that represent? How does that figure into the Deep Green Sea?
Well, on the surface, they're dynamic changes, for a student to help them learn how to adjust very quickly from a gentle touch against the key to a more strong touch against the key. But then also by coming every other bar, I hope that it helps with that feeling of the larger metric structure, and that the student has to feel it in their bodies because they have to do something different.
Excellent. How do you approach teaching students when they're playing these broken chord arpeggios? How do you help them to keep the sound even as it moves from hand to hand?
Oh, that's a really great question. And I think the answer isn't really mine, but it came from my students with autism and how they have to think in a very literal and specific way about these things. If I just say, just keep that even, or it needs to grow, if there's a crescendo figure within it, doesn't really make sense. What they need to know is that every single finger needs to touch the key with a certain strength. And that's how I work with even my advanced graduate students, just saying, look, it's a finger touch against the key. And I need for you to pay more attention to how strongly or how gently you are touching each key. And that lends itself certainly to more consistency in the playing.
That is excellent insight. There are some really beautiful modern sounds in this piece. What material do you draw from? What inspires you when you are looking for these beautiful modern harmonies?
Oh, I just like to throw in a lot of sort of modal shifts in the music, because I feel like that's a way that you can still have a tonic dominant core in the piece, but you can also put in harmonic content that's going to pull a student away from that progression in ways that they're going to experience later on, when they get to their sonatinas and things like that. So I try to put a lot of those things in, and they sound fun, I think, and it just teases the ear a little bit.
Absolutely, and it refreshes us. It surprises us. It doesn't let us get too comfortable. We always have something to look forward to in the next measure. It's really makes your pieces so exciting to play. What else should students be thinking about when they are learning to play Deep Green Sea?
Oh, certainly the dotted half note, melodic figures that show up about halfway through the first page, and that's designed to help students learn how sometimes you have to sort of split the hand in half or bisect it, and that these fingers need to work together to give a stronger sound, and maybe these fingers need to work together to play a more gentle sound, so that this accent, these tenuto or accent notes will sing out without banging down into the keys, that they're more gently, strongly done with the side of the hand with plenty of support.
And what are your strategies for helping students to approach that balance within the hand?
Oh, again, it's just making sure that I talk a lot to my students about the fact that the bridge of the hand needs to be slightly above the key. So there's actually a plane of motion within which the fingers can move. Otherwise, it's just this all the time. And once that's up there, then they can really move. and touch the keys with the different strengths and make the sounds that they want to make and be consistent about it.
Excellent advice. Is there anything else you'd like us to know about Deep Green Sea?
I think just that the title came afterward, and instead of Deep Blue Sea, Deep Green Sea. It just makes me think a little bit differently about the depths of the sea and all the colors. When you look at the water, certainly it's a reflection of the sky, but I'm the type of person who loves to look at the grass and try to count how many shades of green there are there and just say that's the coolest thing ever. Let's see if we can have that many shades of color in a piece.
Oh, that's so cool. I love how you continually draw for visual inspiration, whether it's from flowers or from fine art and oil paintings. That's just such a cool thread that runs through all of your music. Scott Price, thank you so much for joining us today. Scott Price's piece is Deep Green Sea. You can find it at tomgirouxmusic.com. If you found this useful, make sure you give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, everyone.